Javier, I wanted to ask that people claim they get angry because someone else has done them wrong somehow. Does this mean that feeling angry is someone else's fault and therefore justified?
Very good question. I would say that people have this tendency to put the blame on others, right? When I feel provoked, I may blame it on you. And it's important to take responsibilities from my responses or my reactions. It's not easy to learn this, to admit this to yourself, that you need to take responsibilities. It's not about the provocations. And I wouldn't say that a bad reaction it's justified by XYZ provocation. We will always find provocations out there. But it's up to me, it's my responsibility to respond, not to react. And this takes time to acknowledge this. If I feel provoked by you, I need to let you know how I feel. I may feel hurt. I may feel disappointed or sad. If I let you know this, I may not react. I may not yell back at you. This is how you learn to better manage your emotion, the anger. When you talk about yourself, when you put words in these emotions, when people are lashing out and breaking objects, they are saying something. But they have this difficulty to put words to this emotion. They don't know. So this is a way for them to do it. So what is it? What is it that you want to say when you're breaking that object? You're saying something. Put words. What is it?
So you're saying that by putting things into speech, then we change our behavior from reactive to responding. So if I just tell somebody that I don't like what they are doing, that means that I'm responding and not reacting. Is that right?
Exactly. You are. Because you are involving the cognitive processing. You're thinking. You're becoming aware. If you're aware, you're not gonna be as impulsive. I'm talking to you about my emotions and my feeling at that moment. I don't need to shift that. This is what we need to learn. How to talk about how am I feeling now. And if I do that, I may not react. I may not scare people or push people away with my behavior, with my reckless behavior sometimes. Like I said before, anger pushes people away. Nobody wants to be around me when I'm very mad and angry. Especially if I'm sending signs that may intimidate the other. People get away. I get out, right?
How would you explain the contrast between individuals who manage their anger in a positive way versus those individuals who manage their anger poorly or not at all?
According to in which atmosphere you grew up in is going to determine also how you're going to respond later on. When we are little, our brain is so small and is absorbed like a sponge. And then you are learning a lot from our primary caregivers, right? So depending on how my mom and my dad are dealing with anger, I'm gonna absorb that information, I'm gonna repeat, I'm going to recreate this later on. If I see my dad breaking objects, punching, this is how he's reacting, this is how he's letting his anger out. He's teaching me at the same time, this is what you do. He doesn't have to say it, but he's just showing that. and then I'm learning. Then later on in your life, you discover that, oh, this is where, well, this happens in therapy, right? When some clients discover where this anger comes from. They learn it somewhere. Now, the difference between people managing anger in a good way or in a bad way, or not at all, depends, I would say, depends a lot on what type of atmosphere they grew up in.
Javier, I wanted to ask you also, in your international seminars and workshops, you seem to emphasize the importance of synergy between the use of anger management techniques and effective communication. So in your opinion, what is the link between these two essential elements which makes them so important in successfully managing anger as an emotion?
Yes, I would like to say that there's a correlation between anger management and effective communication, because what I notice a lot in people is that the lack of use of I statements. People tend to use you statements or we statements. And then this may trigger anger too. If I talk about myself, you're not gonna perceive me as someone who's attacking you. I'll give you an example. If I feel the way you're treating me is disrespectful, and I decide to tell you, you're disrespecting me, or you don't listen to me, you're gonna feel attacked. But if I tell you, well, I don't feel listened, I don't feel respected, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about me, and I'm communicating my feelings. So this is where I insist that we need to put words to this emotion and say, I'm upset, I don't like this, I feel hurt, I feel disrespected. I would like to say also that there are another emotion behind the anger that usually doesn't come out. Before we get angry, usually we feel hurt, but then we shift that emotion for anger. Because if I get angry, I feel more powerful. I'm going to be more dominant. I'm going to have control over you and over the situation. I don't want to show you that I feel hurt, because then I may be perceived as someone who's vulnerable, and you may attack me. But usually, the primary emotion behind anger is sadness.
So, as I've been listening to you talking, I realize that you have been using I statements all along during this interview. So I believe it requires a certain training, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And well, you definitely have that training, Javier. So on behalf of all the viewers, I want to thank you very much for joining us today and having the pleasure of speaking with you on a very important subject that you have enlightened us on. Thanks again.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you.